Hello everyone, welcome back to revision time. So I hope you all are in good health. So earlier we started with life processes and we studied nutrition. We saw nutrition in autotrophs, heterotrophs, we saw what is the digestive system in human beings. So now let us continue with respiration. So the link to the previous video in the is in the description box. You may check it from there. So starting with respiration. What is respiration? So the process of inhaling oxygen from outside the body and using it for the breakdown of food sources for cellular needs. And these cellular needs are energy production. So this process is known as respiration. Inhaling of oxygen and exhaling of carbon dioxide is known as breathing. So breathing and respiration are two different processes. We will study about the differences as we go further. So respiration are broadly of two types. First is aerobic respiration and second is anaerobic respiration. Aerobic respiration takes place in the presence of oxygen while anaerobic takes place in the absence of oxygen. So the general equation for aerobic respiration is glucose, which is a 6 carbon molecule in the presence of 6 oxygen molecules, is converted to 6 carbon dioxide, 6 water and energy in the form of ATP. So ATP is the energy currency of cell. It stands for adenosine triphosphate. Whereas anaerobic respiration, glucose is converted to 2 molecules of alcohol, 2 of carbon dioxide and energy in the form of ATP. So we must note that in both the cases, the first step is the conversion of glucose to pyruvate. Pyruvate is a 3 carbon molecule and glucose is a 6 carbon molecule. So the process of conversion of glucose to pyruvate, this is pyruvate, is known as glycolysis. And this glycolysis occurs in the cytoplasm of the cell. So this flow chart here sums up the processes of aerobic and anaerobic respiration. So first is the conversion of glucose to pyruvate and liberation of energy in the form of ATP. So this takes place in the cytoplasm by the process of glycolysis. So pyruvate has three fates. First in the yeast, second is in the muscle cells and the mitochondria. So in the yeast there is anaerobic respiration producing ethanol, carbon dioxide and ATP. In muscle cells, when there is lack of oxygen, there is anaerobic respiration producing lactic acid and ATP. And in the mitochondria, where there is aerobic respiration in the presence of oxygen producing carbon dioxide, water and ATP, that is energy. Next is taking up of air, how different organisms take up air. So first is plants. So there are some pores present on the leaf surface, that is in the epidermal lining of the leaf, and this is known as stomata. And the working cell of stomata are the guard cell. These are the kidney shaped or bean shaped cells. So when they are swollen, there is the passage for the air to pass and exchange of gases takes place. And when they are in the shrink position, no exchange of gases take place. So in night there is no photosynthesis because there is no sunlight, and the sunlight is required for photosynthesis. So carbon dioxide is given out. While in day, carbon dioxide is used in the photosynthesis, so oxygen is released. Also, the rate of breathing in aquatic animals is faster than that in the terrestrial organisms. Why? So in the terrestrial organisms, they can breathe the atmospheric oxygen, but the aquatic animals breathe through the dissolved oxygen. So dissolved oxygen, this oxygen is dissolved in the water. So this is fairly low as compared to the atmospheric oxygen. So the rate of breathing, what is breathing? Inhaling and exhaling of the air. So rate of breathing is faster in the aquatic animals than the terrestrial organisms. Next is respiration in human beings. So air is taken into the body through the nostrils, and these nostrils have fine hair and mucus. These hair and mucus help in the filtration of air, which is very important. These filter out the dust particles and unwanted materials. So air goes through the nostrils to the throat, then to the trachea, and ultimately to the lungs for the gaseous exchange. There are present cartilaginous rings in the throat, that is the trachea. So these rings prevent the collapsing of air passage. So the trachea further divides and goes in each lung, forming the bronchi. The bronchi further divide into bronchioles, and which finally terminate into the alveoli. So these alveoli are the balloon-like structures. The alveoli provide the surface area for the exchange of gases. Why so? Because the walls of the alveoli are containing the dense network of blood vessels. So this is the diagram of the human respiratory system. So this is the nostril from where the air enters. It may also enter from mouth. So this is larynx, this is trachea, which is the windpipe, and this is showing the cartilaginous rings. So this trachea is divided here, and each tube goes to the each lung. This tube is known as bronchi, and they further divide into bronchioles. These are the bronchioles, and bronchioles terminate into the alveoli. These structures represent alveoli. This is a very dense network. I have drawn here simply so that it can be clear to all. So this same organization is present here also. For the sake of simplicity and proper explanation, I have drawn in the one lung only. So these are the ribs. Lungs are present in the rib cage. These ribs are also present here. So this structure here is the diaphragm. So now let us see what is the breathing mechanism. So when we breathe in, that is when we inhale. So our ribs lift up, diaphragm flattens, and the chest cavity enlarges. When the chest cavity enlarges, it increases the area. And we all know pressure is equal to force over area. Hence, pressure is inversely proportional to area. What this means? When the pressure increases, the area decreases, or when the area is less, the pressure is high, and when the area is high, the pressure is less. Okay, so now when the chest cavity enlarges, the air pressure in the lungs decreases. Area increases and pressure decreases. So now the air enters into the lungs. On the other hand, when we breathe out, that is when we exhale, the ribs relax, diaphragm also relaxes, and the chest cavity decreases. When the chest cavity decreases, that is area decreases, now the pressure is high. Air pressure increases and air will go out to the atmosphere. So now let us see how the exchange of gases takes place. So air from the nostrils goes to the lungs and finally to the alveoli. So the main process is diffusion. Diffusion is the movement of molecules from region of high concentration towards the region of lower concentration. So the carbon dioxide from the body comes to the alveoli through blood. And also at the same time oxygen from the alveoli goes to the body through blood. So this is the better explanation of exchange of gases. So these are the lungs, this is the blood circulating, and these are the tissues. So this is carbon dioxide, and this blue line show the oxygen. So oxygen diffuses in blood, and the transportation of oxygen takes place in the body, and it diffuses into the cells. Whereas the carbon dioxide from the tissues goes to the blood and transported to the lungs. Here the carbon dioxide diffuses in the lungs. So in between inhalation and exhalation, some amount of air is always present in the lungs, and this is known as the residual volume of the lungs. So what is the purpose of this residual volume? It provides the time for the gaseous exchange, and it prevents the collapsing of lungs. So now we have this interesting biomolecule known as hemoglobin. It is the respiratory pigment. So this is present in the blood. So why do we need this? So in the large organisms, they cannot depend only upon the diffusion process for the oxygen to cover all the body parts. So hemoglobin take up oxygen and carry it to tissues which are deficient in oxygen before releasing it. Hemoglobin have the affinity to oxygen, that is, they takes up oxygen very easily. So it is a very important pigment. So now when we have studied breathing, respiration, the processes, now let us see what are the major differences between breathing and respiration. So breathing is intake of fresh air and removal of foul air. Respiration is the using food to form carbon dioxide, water and energy. That is the energy production process. Breathing hence is a physical process and respiration is a biochemical process. Breathing is confined to few organisms of few organs only, that is lungs, and respiration occurs in all cells. Breathing, there are no enzymes required, and respiration requires few enzymes. Breathing is a extracellular process and respiration is the intracellular process. Extracellular process means it takes place outside the cell and respiration is the cellular process. So energy is used in breathing. However, energy is produced in respiration. Breathing is a voluntary action and respiration is involuntary. We can stop breathing for like few seconds, but we cannot stop respiration. So this was all about respiration. I hope it was helpful to you. So don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe, and links to the previous videos are present in the description box. Thank you.